Never in a million years did I ever think I would be making a video on Charlie, aka Moist Critical, aka Penguinz0 on YouTube, who, yes, indeed, has a gigantic following and gets a lot of views. And the main reason why I never thought that I would ever make a video on this guy is because, honestly, he's pretty safe in his content. He's very careful in what he says. He doesn't talk about controversial subjects too often. And whenever he does, I got to be honest with you guys, he never really has a genuine, real opinion. He typically just regurgitates whatever everybody else is saying, or his opinion is basically, when it comes to covering certain controversial situations, his opinion is basically whatever the majority thinks on any given subject. And I kind of figured that at some point that would come back to bite him in the butt, because at some point when you're like that, you know, you're going to eventually misread your own community or what you think the internet feels. And that's exactly what happened in Moist Critical's situation. You see, when it comes to this whole thing about children and transgendering or being able to, you know, get the gender reassignment surgery, I believe it's called. Sometimes you can fall into this false notion, if you're too busy watching certain news platforms, that the majority of people think that it is okay for a child to get gender reaffirming surgery, you know, at the age of 14 or 15 or something like that, without their parents' consent or without their parents even knowing about it. Now, unfortunately, if you go on Twitter or YouTube or really any social media platform, not some news network, but an actual social media platform, you will actually find that it is quite the opposite. In my personal opinion, at least based on what I've seen on social media, a lot of people disagree with that. And I think that's kind of where Charlie kind of fell into that. And we'll get into the whole story in just a second. But let me just start from the very beginning. So the very beginning of this stems from the beef that happened between Moist Critical, aka Penguinz0, and Sneako. Obviously, for those who don't know, Sneako is a very popular content creator. He's like a live streamer. Moist Critical is also a very popular YouTuber. And so what happened was, Sneako started to talk a lot about Charlie, aka Moist Critical, and Charlie never responded until Sneako posted a picture of his girlfriend and started to talk trash. So what happened was Penguinz0, aka Moist Critical, he started to respond because he, you know, you talked about somebody's girl, you talk about another man's girl, the gloves are off. So Charlie finally started to make videos about Sneako. Then you guys might remember that famous incident where Sneako posts a live stream of him like putting guns in the video and saying, "I'll show you my clips," blah, blah, blah. And then Moist Critical, Charlie, Penguinz0 makes a video, and that video got like 10, 12 million views. It got an insane amount of views. He posts a video responding to Sneako about the guns, and he says, you know, "You're a dummy. Those are not clips. Those are actually called mags." And then basically Penguinz0 pulls out a pistol, and then after that he pulls out like this gigantic rifle, and, you know, the video went viral, and that's pretty much the whole thing. So you know, there was a little bit of quiet time between that point. You thought that the beef might have been over maybe, but it turns out that the beef wasn't over. The beef was just beginning. So what happened after that was Moist Critical and Sneako decide to do a live stream together. And that's where we find ourselves into this new controversy. So that's where I go ahead and I bring up this post from Drama Alert. And so what happened was Sneako and Moist Critical basically confront each other. They hash out all the crazy, you know, thoughts about the world and, you know, certain things around children that Sneako believes. And I got to be honest with you guys, I did watch some of the stream, and I think that both of them took an L. I definitely think Sneako took the biggest L, because the way that the stream originally started was Sneako actually kind of led Penguinz0 into a trap, because he first started off the stream by saying, you know, he basically believes that a 15-year-old child or girl or whatever should be allowed to have intercourse with a 20-something, 21-year-old man if everybody consents. Sneako's opinion is, well, if you're 14 or 15 years old, if you are a minor, but you like the person, they like you, and they're an adult, but your parents agree and they agree, that child should be allowed to have intercourse, be in a relationship, get married to that person. I think that's absolutely disgusting. I think that's terrible. I do not think that pedophilia should be justified just because the parents consent to it, and just because, you know, the adult, you know, the 20, 21-year-old, whatever in this situation agrees to it. And then Sneako also brought up this whole situation where he's like, well, what about in other countries? You have some countries like Mexico where the age of consent is like 14, 15 years old. And you have certain countries where 14, 15-year-old girls are getting married to men who are older because everybody consents to it. The girl's cool with it, the guy's cool with it, and both sides of the parents are cool with it. My whole thing with that is, I don't care what's happening in other countries. That doesn't make it right. And so after that happened, it led into another argument that stemmed around, you know, being able to transition your gender and getting like gender reassignment surgery and different things like that. And that's what led to this clip, which I am going to play right now.
Do you believe that somebody can go through hormone therapy? Can they change their gender if they're a child?
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone is consenting, as you agree with.
Okay, so as long as...
Okay, so you can already see with the evil laugh there that Sneako completely got him. That was Sneako's whole point. So again, the first conversation they had was Sneako basically believes that, a minor 15, 14-year-old should be able to, have consenting intercourse with an adult if everybody agrees. And so Sneako then flipped it on Penguinz0 and he said, okay, I get that you don't agree with that part, but do you agree with this then? How do you feel about a 15-year-old, getting gender reassignment surgery or being able to transition without the consent of the parents or blah, blah, blah? And Penguinz0 basically said, yeah, I agree with that. I think that's fine. And that's basically where the backlash stems from. Now, I don't agree with that either. I do not think that children should be allowed to make certain decisions like that, especially without the consent of their parents. Now, if you want to do that when you're a full legal adult, fine. But as a child, I don't agree because in my opinion, children are very impressionable. Children may make certain decisions at one point that they may regret later in life. Children's brains are not fully developed. That's the other reason why I also disagree with Sneako. I do not think that a child is able to make adult decisions like that for themselves, whether it be, being with a person who's older or, determining if they're actually in love or even, getting some sort of gender reassignment surgery or transitioning. I just don't agree with any of that. But that is exactly what happened. And, Penguinz0 basically endorsed that idea. And I strongly disagree with that. And let's just go ahead and continue with most of the clip.
If your parents are okay with it and you are okay with it, I think that's totally a familial decision to make. Yeah.
Okay. So
let me revise what I said. Let me correct myself. So he just said that he thinks that as long as the parents are okay with it and basically the doctor and the child and everybody's okay with it, then he thinks that's fine. I just want to make it clear, I don't agree with that either. I do not think that children or minors should be allowed to get any sort of gender reassignment surgery or transition genders or anything like that. I don't think they should be able to do that until they are a legal adult. That's just my opinion.
A child can cut their penis off and take hormone blockers and change their biology forever, but they can't get married?
Well, that's a decision that now extends beyond the family because now you're bringing in a different party. So if you have someone that's your age coming in saying, I want to marry that child, I don't think that can happen under any circumstance. No.
But it's still a personal decision. You're still deciding.
Because there's
take the other party out of the equation. It's a personal decision. If I'm 16 and I personally want to marry this girl, she's beautiful. She's 21 years old. Her family wants to do it. My family wants to do it. You're saying I can't do that. We're both consenting. I'm ready to go. I'm physically mature, but I'm not allowed to marry because Moy says that woman's a pedophile. But if then the next day I leave it, I'm depressed, I want to cut my penis off, I can go right into the clinic, snip it off, and start taking HRT like Chris Tyson. That's a society that makes sense to you?
It is. I believe everyone has complete. Yep, I believe everyone.
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, I think Penguinz0 misread the room there. Like I said, this is a guy, I've watched a few of his videos. Whatever he believes the majority opinion is, I think he tends to lean that way. And I think he completely misread it. A lot of people are completely against that, especially online, which is obviously where most of these guys have their popularity. It's online. People do not agree with that at all. And I just think that was a big mistake. And so what happened was after this, Moist Critical got so much backlash that it actually led to this statement right here. So I'll just go ahead and put it up on the screen. So here's the statement right here. I guess this was sent to everybody who is a member of Moist Critical's Patreon. And it basically says, hey, everyone, effective immediately. Charlie has made the decision to leave both the official podcast and Red Thread. He wants to go on an indefinite hiatus to scale back his time spent on the internet. We obviously wish him the best, for everyone to respect his decision and for all to know that the show will always be open for him to drop by and talk shop should we wish him to return. And then it says here, the official podcast, Red Thread, and Criminally Stupid are not going anywhere in light of this announcement. Now, the funny thing about this announcement is a lot of people are running around and saying, oh, Charlie completely left YouTube and he quit YouTube. And I might even put that in the title, but that's just for clicks. But I do want to acknowledge in this video, at least, that he He did not quit YouTube. That is not what happened. He did take a step back though, which is important to point out, but he did not quit YouTube. He actually posted a video today, but he's going to keep posting on YouTube. He's just taking a slight step back from the internet and just kind of scaling back. And I completely understand why. I mean, if you look at him and you watch that live stream with Sneako, he's clearly not a good debater, and that's okay. But, you know, I'm not shocked. Like, I don't even know why he agreed to do the confrontation, because like I said, I've been watching this guy's content for like years. Like, I don't watch every video, but I have seen a few of his videos. And typically what I notice is he doesn't really have a genuine opinion. Like, he doesn't have his own actual opinion of what he thinks about stuff. He just takes whatever he thinks is the popular side. So I don't even know why he agreed to do that with Sneako. But, you know, it's definitely not a coincidence that once he gets all that backlash for saying that he agrees with that thing that's controversial that I disagree with about the gender reassignment thing. After that, you know, he randomly just says, you know, hey, he comes up with this announcement effective immediately. You know, I made the decision to leave, you know, this show, and I'm leaving that show. And I just think that it's bad timing. But anyway, I just think that overall, the best thing that Charlie can do is you got to understand that when you're on social media, you're not going to be able to avoid controversy, especially when you speak on things that are controversial. Sometimes you just got to have an opinion, have an informed opinion, and an opinion that makes sense that you can actually defend if you were to debate on it, and you just got to own it. You know, that's just how it works. You can't do the whole, I'm going to just kind of lean to one side, whatever the popular side is, not really have an opinion. That only works for so long until it doesn't. And in this case, it didn't work. And so, you know, it finally caught up with Charlie. So yeah, Charlie definitely scaled back and decided to take a hiatus from the amount of time that he spends from the internet, but he didn't quit. He didn't completely quit, at least YouTube. He did quit, but he didn't completely quit YouTube. Like, he's still going to post his main channel, which why would he not? He literally can post anything he wants to get millions of views. But obviously, you know, a lot of these big content creators are just often under scrutiny for just having these trash opinions. And I think the ultimate thing that I kind of want to leave you guys, the ultimate message I want to leave, because part of what I do on this channel is warn you guys about these big YouTubers. That's kind of what I do. But ultimate message that I want to say in this video is, just because somebody has a huge following or has a lot of fans does not necessarily mean that they are intelligent on certain issues. And it doesn't mean that their opinion is valid. And it doesn't mean that it's an informed opinion. And it doesn't mean that you should listen to it. And in this case, I think that both Sneako and Charlie both took L's in that debate. And I think that both of them had absolutely trash and terrible takes and opinions. And you just got to be really careful with these YouTubers and content creators. But anyway, yeah, that's the drama going on with Penguinz0, aka Moist Critical, aka Charlie. And that's today's video. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.